Get into the merch. Ow. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Poured by L. Harper. This is episode 2. I have a question for y'all. How long is too long to date somebody without knowing where you stand with them? Yeah, let's get into it. Grab a glass. Let's go. Okay, so y'all, I have been thinking about this because in the last episode, I kind of gave you guys the Cliff Note version of my life and my relationships and how I got to where I am today and how I've how my relationships and how what my idea of love looks like, right? And one lesson keeps coming back to me, and that lesson is clarity. Let's get into it. People oftentimes ask me, girl, 20 years, like how you spend 20 years with a man and he don't ask you to marry him and y'all got all these kids and da 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 and the reason why I was able to remain in a relationship with a person that long was lack of clarity. I am one of those people. Well, I used to be. I'm breaking out of it now, but I was one of those people who, if I knew if I asked a person something and it wouldn't be in my favor, if I felt like the odds were not going to be in my favor, I wouldn't do it, right? Or I wouldn't ask. Okay. I wasn't one of the, like, as even as a child, like I wasn't that girl, I wasn't that child who'd be like, um I might ask my mama, can I da 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 da? Or you know what I'm saying? Or your friends will be like, hey, ask your mama, can you come over here? Like, nah, if I knew that my mom was gonna say no, I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, I'm not asking her that. And I don't know why I'm like that, but I am. And it relates because you know, as I told y'all in the last episode, I started dating my high school sweetheart, right? We were about 15. Well, I was 15. He was 17 or turning 17, something like that. And we were kids, right? So we don't know anything about marriage or where this is going to lead and all of those things. All we knew was, okay, we getting chose or we choosing and all this other kind of stuff, right? So we're not really thinking about, what the future is going to hold. And I mean, as we shouldn't, like in high school, we shouldn't be thinking about things like that. But for me, like I felt like, oh, I love him so much. This gonna be my husband, and he loved me, and I love him, and all, you know all the puppy love things, right? But I really did like real deal feel in my heart that this man was going to be my husband. So that's the way I moved. I didn't have eyes for anybody else, and I never even stopped to think, do he want me to be his wife? So I just put it on him. Like, I didn't ask for the clarity. It was like, yeah, this is what it is. Like, it's a no brainer. I love you. You love me. So why not? Right. So, at that age, love just looks like being chosen, doing things together, um, going on dates, going to dances. Dances were the thing back then. I don't know if the kids are doing it now, but going to the dances back then and doing all of those things. And once we got out of high school, we didn't get clarity on what it is that we wanted to pursue going forward, right? So there was a time that we went through a bit of a breakup after I graduated high school. So there was a little bit of separation there. But we did end up circling back around and, started it up again. And at this point, we had started having children, right? So again, moving through life and letting life choose for us versus us defining what it is. Neither one of us was asking, what do you want this to be? Or where are we going with this? We just assumed that, okay, we got kids together now, so I guess we're just doing it. We're just doing this, right? So life continues to go on and continues to go on. And, by the time we got to baby number 3, it's just kind of like, for me, now I'm only speaking for myself. For me, I'm like, where we going? Like, what we doing? We had baby number 3. We have not really established ourselves together. And now I will say that, he was working on his career and things like that at the time. So I was understanding of those things, but I was under the assumption that, he's working on these things so that we could move and progress towards marriage, right? That was my assumption. I did not ask for that clarity. I was not asking the right questions. And because I wasn't asking the right questions, I was not getting the outcome that I wanted. And so it just began to feel really confusing because I'm like, okay, here we are. I'm now pregnant with our 3rd child. Do you really want this? Like, what are we doing? And so we did have a heart to heart. We had to come to Jesus. We did. And, things started to change. So I started seeing movement, right? So, okay, we moving in together. We got a brand new apartment, brand new furniture, just brand new everything. And we doing it now, right? And we moving because at first I just felt stagnant. But we getting some traction now. We moving and grooving, and I have the baby, and he's working, he's providing, and he's doing all the marital things. And I'm doing all the marital things. But something still was a little bit off. Still was a little bit, And, I said all of that to say that I was not open and I was not asking for clarity. I was not like, this could have been done a long time ago, or things could have been different a long time ago had certain conversations been had. I'm just going to speak for myself and hold myself accountable in the fact of, I was asking, when are we going to get married? Pushing for marriage, but I wasn't getting clarity on how he truly felt about the relationship, how he truly felt about things that was going on. What did he envision for his future? What did he envision for our future? I didn't take that into consideration. I just wanted what I wanted. And so I'm thinking clarity is defining, us being married and things like that. But you got to think about, when you're in that space, like, we got to think about how we're going to raise our kids. Never had those conversations. We got to think about, where we going to go to church at, if we going to church, and if we doing that. Never had that conversation. Are we going to raise our kids in the church like we were raised? Or, all of these things, conversations that need to be had, and all of them can be uncomfortable. So I went through 20 years of uncertainty. And I can't put the blame on anybody else but me, because what I will say is, even though I was asking the questions that I wanted to know the answers to, I wasn't taking into consideration what wasn't being said, the things that weren't being discussed. I wasn't taking into consideration things that I already felt like I knew, and I could have made a decision based off of that. Because if I'm asking these questions and I'm not getting the answers that I want, then no answer is an answer. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. And it's crazy because at it came to a point, y'all. Like it was like I felt like we were on a treadmill. There was a lot of movement. We going through life together. We having the kids. We getting the bills. We doing holidays with the family. We're doing all those things and going through the motion, right? We on the treadmill. We moving, but we ain't going nowhere. Like on the treadmill, there's no destination. There's just constant movement. And what I was lacking was the progression. And why was I lacking the progression? You got it. Lack of clarity. Let's take a sip on that one. Yeah. So that is why it is very important to define what it is that you're doing. You need to know whether, when you're dating somebody, you need to know whether this is going to be, it's just going to be me and you. We're going to be companions. We're going to go on trips. We're going to go on dates and we're going to do this, but you not my man and I'm not your woman. We not getting married. It's nothing like that. This ain't that. Define those things. Now, for me, I'm a relationship girly, right? I love being in a relationship. I'm a feelings girl. I can't help it. So that was a situation ship I mentioned once before. It was a situation ship, and coming from the relationship that I was in, I was very clear. Like, I need to know what this is and what our plan is. I'm not settling for no, we just gonna go with the flow. I want to know what this is, and I want you to tell me what it is. And if it work out, or if I'm down with what you down with, well, let's do it, right? So I have this conversation with him, and we decide that it's just gonna be what it is. We just gonna hang out. We're just gonna be cool, and whatever. But this is not a progression towards a relationship. This is not what this is, right? I needed to know that for me, right? Because oftentimes I don't know if men don't feel like they don't want to be honest, because if they feel like if they be honest, or I just want to hit, or, you know what I'm saying, this just going to be something fun, that the girl not going to be down with it. Baby, I just came out of a 20-something year situation. I don't want to be in a relationship with you, right? So we defined what it was. And okay, so we moving and we grooving. And I felt like at that point I had learned my lesson, because I'm like, I know how I am. I can't speak for other people, but I know how I am with me being a relationship girly, a feelings girly, and I can get in my feelings real quick. But if I'm already knowing going into this is not going to be that, then okay, yeah, I can fix my mind and I can fix my heart not to fall for you. And that's exactly what happened. I don't really want to go into it, but it's just like, with these men folk, they be asking for stuff like that. And then when we do that, you fall in love because the woman is not chasing you. And then you turn around in your nature and start chasing a woman. And that's kind of what happened. And we had to have another sit down. Like, I thought we weren't doing that. I thought that this was like, you gonna have to keep talking about it. If a situationship is what it is, you're gonna have to keep talking about it. And if you can't keep your emotions in check, and if y'all can't agree, then y'all gonna have to agree to part ways, because it can get real messy real fast. Trust me. I know. Take a sip on that. So now I'm in my dating era, and I'm navigating after becoming a widow. It's it can be a little difficult at times. Um there was a time period where I was, just trying to meet and get to know people, men. I was trying to get to know men and things like that, and I don't know if I wasn't ready, or what. But now I'm feel like I'm in a more healed space, and you know, I try my best to be patient with situations. If I'm meeting a person, everybody is not going to dance to my music. Everybody's not going to move in my pace. So I am patient, but I'm not going to be passive. And what I mean by that is I'm going to ask the questions. Okay, so what we doing? Okay. What are you looking for? Are you just looking for fun? Are you just looking for companionship? Do you want to get married at some point? Do you not want to get married at any point? Because at the big age of 41, talking about myself, I don't have time to keep guessing. I don't have time to try to decode, if a person likes me or not. Like I don't have the bandwidth for something like that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm very intentional about the connections that I'm making. Um if it doesn't align with what I want or need for my life in this season, I have learned that I got to speak up for myself and say, you know what, you know, this is not going to work for me at this time, maybe in the future, or maybe not. I don't know. But right now, this is not going to work for me. Um, because you just gotta be intentional about the people that you keep around you. Um, my space and my area is sacred. So when I let someone in, I let them in. And it's work to get in and it's work to stay in. Now I'm just talking about me. I ain't talking about nobody else. I'm just talking about me. Okay. Um, another thing that I'm also learning in this season is not to rush. Now, people who know me, it's like when I want something, I'm very ambitious. I'm going for it. I'm going for it, right? So when I want something, I get up and I go get it, and I need it like right now. I don't know why, but I just am. So I'm working on, being patient and not rushing things and just enjoying the journey. Right now, I mean, I don't belong to anyone. So I can go hang out with a friend here and go hang out with a friend there. And, now that don't mean I'm sleeping with everybody that I'm hanging out with. I'm not that girl. But yeah, I don't belong to anybody right now. I belong to me. So I'm going to have friends and I'm not going to rush anything. Um, I do have to talk myself down though. No lie. I got to talk myself down off the ledge at times because I can get excited about things. But one thing that I'm not going to do anymore, I'm not wasting my time. If this last few seasons of my life has taught me anything, is that time is precious and you have to enjoy every moment to the fullest because you don't know when your last moment is going to be on this earth. So I'm not going to waste my time. Um, I used to, I have healed through this, but I used to be so angry when, when me and my kid's dad, when we first broke up. I used to be so angry because I felt like, oh my God, I just wasted so much time. I wasted all of my good years. I wasted all of this time and I gave him all of these kids and da 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 da. Right. And then one day I was praying and I was, kind of journaling, and it just came to me. It's like, no lesson is wasted time. You still have a lot of good years ahead of you. And so what you need to do is make use of the time that you have. Experience life to the fullest. Experience everything that life has to offer. So at this particular point in my life, I'm gonna give you a few minutes. I'm gonna give you a few. And then when it's time to make a decision, it's time to make a decision. and I'm going to make it and I'm going to stand on it, right? I mean, y'all might have already been here, but I'm just now arriving, okay? So y'all give me grace, okay? So, one last thing that I wanted to say is that, oftentimes when you get to asking people stuff and they be like, why you pressuring me? Why you pressing me? And, da, 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 clarity is not pressure. It is only pressure when you trying to be deceptive. That's when I feel, now that's my opinion. You can take it or leave it. But I feel like if you're asking somebody for clarity, just a simple, okay, what is this? What are we doing? I'm feeling like I'm liking you a lot right now. And I want to keep my feelings in check. Like, what are we doing? Ain't nothing wrong with it. Now somebody, well, why you asking out? Why you can't just enjoy? Why you gotta be all that? That's a red flag right there to me. Because to me that says, okay, so this person is clearly not feeling the same way that I feel, but they're enjoying me. They're enjoying the benefits of me. They're enjoying the companionship. They're enjoying all of these things, but they don't want the same things I want. And that is something to think about. So when I get to asking about clarity and you feeling like I'm pressing you, confusion is information. Okay. I've noticed though, because of my past and with so much uncertainty that I've had, or the lack of clarity, if you will, I always have to keep myself in check. I have to keep myself in check because if I'm feeling like a person is not moving how I want them to move, I have to stop and say, am I being unreasonable? Because I can have unrealistic expectations. And this is just me. Yeah, I have done a lot of work. I can have realistic expectations of people. And, I feel like if I'm moving a certain way, everybody else got to move that way because it makes sense, right? Wrong. Everybody don't move like you. Everybody don't think like you. Everybody don't speak like you. Everybody don't feel like you. So you have to learn a person and who they are, learn their personality, and learn how they are first. One thing that I can truly say is that I don't pay attention to situations. I pay attention to patterns, because people can BS their way through certain situations, but patterns are a little bit more difficult to fake, right? So I'm a pattern girl. I can recognize a pattern, and when I see it at the right time, I will address it, right? So oftentimes, my past can creep up and can cause me to feel a type of way, and I do have to stop myself. So you have to do inventory. You have to hold yourself accountable, because it's not always the other person. It might be you. You got to check yourself sometimes, boo. Okay? Let's take a sip on that one. Raise your glass to accountability. Yeah. So I really just want to just say that adults should be able to define relationships. It should be okay to say, okay, this is just going to be a cuddy buddy, if you will. It's okay to say, I am looking for a wife, or I am looking for a husband. It is okay to say that. Clarity, again, is not pressure, unless the person is trying to be deceptive. Then it could cause an issue. So if you asking for clarity and they feel impressed, pump your brakes, because they may not be feeling the same way about you. They may just be enjoying the benefits that they get from being with you or around you. Asking questions about where you stand with a person, or what y'all doing in a relationship or situationship or whatever, is not desperation. And this day and age, people making it seem like you thirsty or you a simp if you fall in love with somebody or if you start feeling stuff for people. I mean, it's human nature. Like, that's what we were designed to do. We were designed to like each other and love each other and be attracted to each other. So, like, what we talking about, right? So I don't feel like, in my opinion, I don't feel like it's desperation to ask for clarity. Now, if you've only been talking for a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks, and you try to get married, like, pump your brakes a little bit, get to know the person first. Because some people don't open up as quickly. And if you're not patient and if they're not moving at the pace that you would like, then you gracefully exit. I mean, yeah. If you're scared to talk about clarity, if you're scared to get ask the questions, if you're scared that you don't want to rock the boat, if you're afraid that you're going to be considered a simp, or if you're going to be considered thirsty by asking for clarity in the relationship, situationship, whatever it is, you need to explore why you feel that way. Because in my experience, a person who wants you, you won't have to question it. It will be crystal clear. Now, there are certain situations where some people are not as open and you might have to work with them a little bit, but you gonna know if somebody like you because energy does not lie, okay? And I will say, with my late husband, I didn't have to guess. I did not have to guess whether he liked me, whether he loved me, whether I was the only one. I didn't have to question none of that. And it felt so good to have that type of clarity. And not only was he clear with me, he was transparent with me, which means not only am I going to be honest with you, but I'm going to tell you everything. I'm going to tell you my deepest, darkest, craziest, wildest thoughts, feelings, desires, all of that. And I gave him that space. And he didn't feel judged. So that allowed for him to continue to open up to me, and vice versa. He gave me that same space to express my desires and things that I wanted and needed and all of the things. So it's nothing like having clarity and transparency, y'all. I'm telling y'all right now, because going from a situation where I felt like I couldn't ask, and again, no shade or no diss to him because it wasn't his fault. I put that on me. But coming from a space where I wasn't seeking clarity, and then going to a space where I didn't even have to ask for clarity, like it just presented itself. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. I don't think clarity has a deadline. Like, you don't have to wait a certain number of months or weeks or years or whatever. I don't think clarity should have a deadline, but confusion does. You have to figure out, how long are you going to be in this confusion state before you figure out what the hell going on? Okay? So, yeah. So the key takeaways from this episode: clarity is kindness. Confusion is information. And time invested does not equal progress. Again, you can be on that treadmill making a lot of movement, but no progression. Ain't going nowhere. Okay? So, how long is too long to date without clarity? I'm not really sure. But I feel like you should never spend most of your time wondering where you stand rather than enjoying where you're going with that person. Let's take a sip on that one. If this conversation poured into you today, do me a favor. I need you all to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Poured by Elle Harper. I also have a Facebook page called L Harper Experiences where I post dating, relationship, marriage content on there. We have a lot of posts about, different dating scenarios, marriage scenarios, and things of that nature. I would love to get your thoughts in the comment section. So definitely follow me there. On the next episode, we're going to be diving into a conversation that keeps a lot of people stuck. And that is, are you in love with the person or are you in love with potential? So what we're going to talk about why so many of us fall in love with who someone could be versus who they really are right now. So I need y'all to go ahead, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this one. All right. All right, guys. Life pours into us all differently. But the question is, what are you pouring back? I'm L Harper. And until next time, keep pouring.